and talk about today's lesson, review what we've gone over, and go forward in what we're about to do. So before we get started, I have a little joke for you guys. All right. I'm corny. I already told you that. So let's see. All right. If you get locked out of your house, you should talk to your lock calmly. Anybody know why? Why would we talk to our lock? Because communication is key. Get it? It's key. Yeah. All right, corny. I know I told you that. Anyway, hopefully I gave you a little bit of a laugh, even if the laugh wasn't at my joke and was actually at me. Let's go ahead and get started. Communication is key. It is the way that we share our ideas and our thoughts. It is the way that we clear the air about how we feel. It's the way that we get a job. It is everything. And you know it because there are times when you may say, so-and-so's not listening to me, or they're not understanding what I'm talking about, or my parents just don't get it, right? Because sometimes we are the communicator and we're trying to send a message, and that message gets kind of misconstrued. But communication, if you stop, take the time, find the right words, which we're talking about with grammar and punctuation in those text messages and stuff, then you will definitely find that talking to people or explaining yourself or getting an explanation or what someone else is telling you will work better. Okay, so let's do really quick. I want you to make sure you've read your good morning email. Make sure that you guys clock in and clock out. Most of you guys are doing a great job at that. Thank you so much for keeping up. If you have not been doing the assignments consistently every day, please make sure that you do them. I'm going to have grades ready for you guys tomorrow. We actually take our midterm on Friday. And so I'm going to explain that to you probably in a different video, what the midterm is going to be about. Don't stress about it. I am not here to gotcha. I'm here to help you learn and to help you pass the class, right? And you guys are doing so good. Like, I'm so very proud. Matter of fact, let me tell you. So yesterday I went over the Nearpod lesson, right? And I was just really excited. I'm going to call a couple of names. And if I don't call your name, it doesn't mean that you didn't do well. It just simply means that these particular kids kind of stuck out in what they were doing. And I just want to give them some kudos. That's all. Okay. Some attaboys, good girls, right? So Andrew Watson, Brian, I think it's Kamga, Christian Tucker, Jacqueline Salas, Jeffrey Bonilla, Jaden Compton, Jose Robeloso. There's a Karen. I'm not quite sure. You know, there's a lot of jokes going on about Karen. Please put your last name. And then I believe it's Unium. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but you guys, I'm very proud of you. All of you who logged on, there were 26 of you who logged in yesterday, did your Nearpod lessons. And I'm just really proud of you and the job that you're doing. Good work. Please keep it up. Okay. Reminders again, clock in, clock out. The assignments, I'm starting to do the assignments and unpublishing them at certain times so that I can keep you active and engaged on those assignments, right? So right now, this morning, you should be doing your discussion question, your assessment. I want to make sure that you know the assessments are open for you to do them maybe 2 to 3, sometimes 4 times. That way you can get a really good grade on those. Also, I'm still grading Flipgrid, so if you haven't seen that I've looked at your video, that's why. And vocabulary, you can go in and see what's graded there. And then the Nearpod, it automatically kind of generates for you. So you should be able to see your Nearpod grades And if there's something even on Nearpod, you can go back and redo it as often as you need to if you don't feel like you made a good enough grade. Oh, I lost my earring. Anyway, so I will, like I said, be posting those grades tomorrow, sending them to you some kind of way. I'm going to figure out how I can get it to you so you'll know what you're doing in the class. Right now, everybody is doing well. There's not one one person that I think is doing badly, unless they just haven't done any work at all. So you guys are great. So really quickly, let's go over what you guys have talked about. We started off with the foundation for professional communication, which is, why do we, what's the point of professional communication? And we went over the process the other day, the process of communicating, where we have a sender and a receiver. We have people on opposite ends, whether it's the cell phone or whether it's the telephone or whether it's the TV and your sofa. You've got a sender and you have a receiver. You have a message going forward, and then there is feedback that comes in. And so there's different types of ways that we can communicate. And then there's also this thing called a barrier, where there's something that hinders us from getting the message. And you went through that in your lesson, where that barrier could be distractions in your house. A barrier could be some sort of noise, or with cell phones, I get a barrier all the time right now, and you all may be going through this also, where your signal is bad. Something's going on with the tower. Something's happening where we can't get messages out or in, or phone calls. So that could be a barrier. Sometimes a barrier is understanding. And a lot of you may not understand because I use certain words that you're not familiar with, right? That could be a barrier to you getting your lesson accomplished or getting it done the way that I want it to be, right? And so then there's also interference, where something interferes or breaks the line of communication, right? But for the most part, the process is sender, receiver, message, and feedback. And I know in your notes, in your PowerPoint, you saw there are a few other things like encoding and decoding, and just not going to get in depth into that. But I did want to also go over the types of communication with you, which are intrapersonal, then there is interpersonal. I'm going to go over those in just a second. And there is person to group, and then mass media. And so I'm going to start with intrapersonal communication, which you saw already on your PowerPoint that I sent you. But I want you to get some examples of that. How many of you guys study for tests by yourselves? I'm raising my hand. Okay. I know this is not the classroom, but I got to treat it like that. I'm so used to being in front of people. All right. How many of you think about what you need to purchase from the store, something that you want to talk to a parent about, and you rehearse it in your mind? Yeah. Okay. Well, that is intrapersonal communication, INTRA. And when you see the A usually means one, and one is you. So that is communication within oneself, intrapersonal. It's your thoughts. It's what you want to do. It's when you're studying for your test. It's your rehearsing something in your mind. And then there is interpersonal communication. And that interpersonal is anytime you communicate with a group of people. It could be you communicating with me via email or via face-to-face, right? It could be you communicating with some friends at the park. You're sitting down, you guys are chit-chatting and talking, right? It could be a group panel of people that are talking to an audience, right? So interpersonal is communication where you're exchanging a message with multiple people, not just by yourself, right? There's person to group communication when you have one speaker, and that speaker is addressing many people. That's what I'm doing right now, person to group, right? And then there is what we call mass media. And the mass media, if you think about social media, where you have one thing, one Facebook, one Instagram, one Twitter, but how many followers do you have, right? So I have maybe 1,000 followers on Instagram, right? I don't know if that's good or bad. And to be honest, guys, I could care less about the following for my personal page. My business page, on the other hand, I would love to have 1,000 followers, because then that means that people are seeing my content, which is supposed to be good content, right? So with that, what I was saying is, you have one Instagram, you have one Twitter, but it reaches thousands of people. You guys get those, oh, what are they? Sometimes it's a meme that somebody posted, and you'll see that there's like 75,000 likes. One person posted, but massive amounts of people got a chance to see it. That's mass media. Movies, okay? They made the movie in Hollywood somewhere, but it's in theaters all over the nation. Mass media. Television is mass media. Radio is mass media. Any type of social media is mass media, okay? Because there's multiple people, magazines, newspapers, that are getting those things at one time. So I wanted to kind of touch on that with you guys as far as the process of communication is concerned. Next, I want to go over, we talked about nonverbal communication. And so I want to talk about nonverbal. I want to talk about cell phones and messages that you guys send, right? So nonverbal actually means not talking. It doesn't mean words, because words, we use the words, we're writing. But nonverbal means actually using the voice. Not using the voice. I'm sorry. It means not using the voice. And so we do it a lot in text messaging. And I ask you guys, give me examples yesterday in your discussion topic of nonverbal, or is it today? I'm getting a little confused on the days here. But just giving me some ideas. Emojis are nonverbal. If I post it to you, and I'll show you these right now, and one of the things I would do in a classroom if we were in is that I would actually show emojis and then have the kids tell me what those emojis mean. Because what I learned was, and if you look right here, there's different emojis. But some of the emojis that you guys post have different meanings to them. And that was very interesting to see. I may still do that for you guys. Maybe in a discussion topic where I'll put them out there and see what you guys think they mean. But, you know, you've got the little tear emoji. Some kids say they're laughing till they're crying with the tear emoji. But if he's got a sad face, well, it means I'm sad, I'm hurt, I'm upset, I'm crying. There's the laughing emoji. There's the kissy face emoji. Sometimes I put the kissy face to say thank you. Right? Doesn't mean I love you and I'm sending you my love. It means thank you. I'm so excited. Mwah, you're the best. Right? So they have different meanings, right? So nonverbal communication, you have to watch it. You have to watch that the person that's receiving that message doesn't already have a certain idea in their heads about what it means. So if you have two different ideas, that's where miscommunication comes in. I'm sending the message to say, "Mwah, thank you." You think I'm sending the message as, "Mwah, I love you." No, that's not it at all. That's not it. It's just my way. But when we have two different meanings or understandings, that's where miscommunication can come in, right? So nonverbal communication can be different things. It is our eyes, right? The eyes can say so much. It's funny because when we have our mask on, your eyes can tell you a lot of things. You can see if a person's smiling based on their eyes, right? You can see if a person is surprised. Right? I know. Corny. It's okay though. But you can tell so much from even the facial expression. If I'm sitting here and I'm looking at you like this, you have a certain thought about what that means. If I'm smiling and I'm nodding, you think I understand. I may be thinking, just hurry up so I can say what I want to say. I don't understand anything you're saying. But it's amazing because the face can tell so many different things, right? Your body language is everything. If you are talking to someone and they have their back to you, what does that mean to you? If you are supposed to be listening to someone and instead you're moving a lot, you're taking deep breaths, that says something. Right? So body language sometimes talks more than you speaking. People ever walk up to you and say, "What's the matter?" And you're like, "Nothing." There's something about your body that's telling them. Standing with your arms folded like this. That's a non-receptive. I don't want to be bothered. Don't talk to me. Or it's a, okay, you about to get this business right now. See, the face, the eyes, the body, all has its own message, right? So nonverbal communication is a really big deal. Be careful. Along with that is what we call paralanguage, and you guys got that in the video. And I wanted to break that down because paralanguage is not what you say, but it's how you say it. Paralanguage is, and I'll take for instance, me saying, Jose, go to the store. Okay, just those words. I'm going to say them a couple of different times with different paralanguage, and that is how fast I say it, where I put the inflection on the words. Jose, go to the store. That sounds like I'm asking you politely, but I'm telling you, hey, I'd like you to go to the store for me. Versus, Jose, go to the store. That is me telling you, giving you a directive to go to the store. Versus, Jose, go to the store. You heard the word now, and I didn't even say it because the inflection, the rate of speech, my tone, and my volume even went up. So that is another nonverbal communication that we have. Okay, and this all goes hand in hand, guys, with the video that you already saw the other day. So we're going to move forward from nonverbal communication and body language and facial expressions, which you all have done very well with. Eye contact, even our posture. That's the last thing. Our posture says something. If we were in the classroom and you all were sitting like this, that lets Miss Thibodeau know that you are tired and really not into this thing. And then there's some of you who sit like this. And you're sitting up tall, you're ready, you're attentive. So body language says everything. When someone's talking to you and you just stand back with your hands like this, so you got your hand on your hip, or some of us are, especially girls, we are known for moving our heads and talking with our hands and doing stance. That's also part of posture and stance. Now the hand part isn't, but the neck and how you stand with your hands on your hip, right? And then there are those stances that show that we are paying attention, that we're waiting patiently, like holding your hands together with your legs. You know, I can't stand up, you wouldn't see me. So anyway, but that's also a part of the nonverbal communication, guys. One thing I wanted to touch on is spacing, and I just want you to think about this. When you're in the grocery store, how close do you want the person that you don't know in the line standing next to you? Just think about it, okay? Also, if you just met somebody in the classroom, sitting close to you is fine. But what if they come and stand next to your chair and they're looking at your work? That's called proximity. We have a certain level of space that we want people to stay in. And if they get too close, it makes us uncomfortable. You don't want anybody in your space. But if it's a friend or a parent, sister, brother, and sometimes we don't want those kids either in our space. But for the most part, we're fine. We're okay with them being in our space. So that's proxemics or proximity. All right. So moving forward, guys. That's the lesson on that. I wanted to make sure that we just kind of touched on it because those are some things that you're going to see on that Friday's midterm that you're going to take. We went over yesterday what is listening and what is hearing, and I'm gonna just break it down. It is so very, very easy. Hearing is taking in what is going on around you, right? Hearing is I hear the refrigerator, I can hear the kids outside playing, I can hear my TV is doing something over there. I don't know what it's doing. I'm not really listening. Listening is when I give my attention to something, when I'm facing it, when I am making a mental conscious decision to give my attention and figure out. And so that's the difference between listening and hearing, so that you'll know. Hearing means you're able to give constructive feedback, right? Feedback might be in the form of answering assessment questions. Okay, it could be just verbally saying it. Even in a text message, if you don't read something well, it's almost like not listening to that person, right? So you go in, you look at what they say, you got such and such and such. Okay, I saw that, but okay, and then you answer it, and then they come back and they're like, man, what did you mean? You didn't read it. So it's the same thing when you're talking to someone. You're not listening to me. Give me your undivided attention. Show me your face. Stand tall or sit tall. Look attentive, as if you are really wanting to get what it is that the person is telling you. So I wanted to give you a couple of points on that. So in listening, it's interpreting what another person is saying. It's trying to figure it out. Do you understand it? And if you don't, your feedback sometimes could be in the form of a question. Like when you guys email me, that's feedback to me, that you read what I said, you listened to my video, and you actually were trying to understand it, but you couldn't. So you ask a question, right? So there's parts to it. It's looking, it's your body language, it's your response. Okay. All right. So that's very simple. I wasn't going to take a lot of time with listening versus hearing because it just is. There are different types of listening, which is like appreciative, critical listening, listening deliberately. There's empathetic listening. And so appreciative listening is when, like, I watch. So there's two different shows I've been watching, right? And this is appreciative listening because I listen. I'm attentive to it. And it makes me laugh and smile. And those are Monk. You've never seen it before. And the other one is Everybody Hates Chris, right? And so I'm just into it. Like, yeah. Ah, ha, 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 So that's appreciative listening. When we listen to music, right? That's appreciative listening. We're listening with a purpose or intent because it makes us feel good, There's critical listening. Critical listening is like when you go to the doctor's office and they're telling you, hey, you're doing well. All your vitals are good. Your signs, you're doing well with your weight. You're doing great things. However, there is also deliberative listening, which means that you are evaluating what's being said. And sometimes that can also happen when you're at the doctor's office because you need to know, okay, if I'm not doing well, then what is it that I need to do? So I'm deliberately listening to what that person is saying to me. Right? And then there is empathetic listening. That often happens when you are listening to someone who's emotional, or they're going through something and you want to just be there for them and you're trying to understand and feel what they're going through, right? So that's listening versus hearing and the different types of listening. Remember, we talked about barriers and things that come up while we're trying to listen, while we're trying to be effective listeners. Sometimes barriers come up, people talking to us, distractions, but you have to know how to either stop that barrier or stop what you're doing and try to give your full attention to whomever is talking or what's going on. We get barriers a lot in the classroom, so I guess this is kind of good. You don't have as many well, you still may have a few things, but anyway. And then lastly, guys, I am going to do a separate video on demonstration speeches, right? So the demonstration speech is what we will be doing this Friday. And I will give a separate video shortly just to kind of let you know. You ever heard of a how-to speech where you explain the process of something? Well, that's the demonstration speech. So go ahead and get all of your assignments done. We will do the demonstration videos shortly. I will publish them so that you can see them and move forward. All right. Any questions or comments, guys, make sure that you put them. Call me, text me, email me. However you need to get to me, I'm available.